Good morning and welcome to the neighborhood. It's a bit cloudy today, snow way low down on the mountains. Vancouver got snow, we didn't, but should be beautiful up there. I want to follow up a little bit from yesterday because I may have left the impression that, you have to be a multi-billionaire to do anything, and that's not the case. We're talking about the concept that governments don't change things, they respond to change. So how can you make change? In this case, quite literally. GameStop, which was a brick and mortar company that was adopted by Reddit. Reddit is a social media platform that has been around a long time. And there were large funds that were shorting GameStop because they figured, they weren't doing all their business online and they could make some money on their stock falling. When you short a stock, what you do is you essentially sell stock you don't have. And then you have to buy it back. And the game is you sell stock at a higher price and buy it back to cover your sale at a lower price at a later date. However, there's some interesting issues with this. When you get a large number of Redditors, R-E-D-D-I-T, that got together and saw an opportunity. Because shorting stocks is an interesting and somewhat detrimental thing. Basically, you're betting on a company losing. So what they did is they saw these large short positions, which people try to keep kind of quiet, and they bought up the stock. They pushed the price way, way up to the point that, the company that was, the fund that was shorting the stocks had to liquidate enough stock that it painted the entire New York Stock Exchange red because they were selling so much stock to cover this. We're talking like trillions here, I think. And they had to borrow from other funds, something like $1.5 trillion. Now, the story gets more interesting because, don't forget, this is little people on Reddit gathering together with a purpose in mind. They're distributed globally. They're not physically close to each other. And their idea was to make these companies pay for the higher price that the stock was going to be available at. And they had to buy it back because they'd already sold it. So many of them in the US were trading through an online service called Robinhood. And it gets a bit murky here and complicated, but it sounds like Robinhood, in order to deal with compliance and everything else, works like many other places through a number of intermediate brokers that, I don't know whether they're called brokers at this point, that aggregate blocks of shares to get better prices in the market. So Robinhood, the people upstream of them said, hey, you don't have enough cash on hand to deal with this risk. So Robinhood said, okay, you can't buy any more GameStop to these millions of Redditors. You can sell it, but you can't buy it. So you can't push the price up anymore. You can't create a restrictive supply because you can't buy it anymore. Now, if you go on to YouTube or many other commentators, you'll have heard that the CEO of Robinhood has been grilled by a congressional committee, as have others. So it goes up like that. So we've got attention of the politicians. The game is being changed somewhat. And the argument is that, do we allow large brokers, large funds, I should say, not brokers, large funds, to play by one set of rules while everybody else has to play by another. This is an interesting form of protest. It combines real physical and temporal distancing while putting attention on a particular topic. In this case, the nature and inequities of short selling with very large amounts of money in play. Now, when you're doing a protest or standing up for something, more to the point, it's sometimes useful to connect stories. In this case, and sometimes the stories involve taboos. Now, money always involves taboos one way or t'other. And so it goes. I'm talking about this because on Wednesday, it's Thursday now, GameStop went up 100% on the market. Again. I think trading was stopped, but in after-hours trading, it continued to rise. Now, this is in no way, I want to be really careful here, this is in no way any advice to invest in anything for any reason. This is a tricky proposition at the best of time. I'm just using it as an example of how protests can be done, can be orchestrated globally with physical distancing and temporal distancing. In this case, the temporal distancing is a little different because people are moving in tandem, but it's just one small example of what can be done. Now, they have done this with AMC and what's the other company? They've done this with a variety of other companies. They've also taken a run at silver. And this takes us into a myriad of other interesting things like complex derivatives and blockchain-based currencies like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and all those kind of things. Again, no endorsement on any of these things. These are volatile markets that have highly complex underpinnings, and I would not advise anybody to do anything with any of these other than tread very, very lightly. The thing about GameStop is that while some people are making quite a lot of money on it, and the money is ostensibly coming from the funds that shorted the company in the first place, so the idea is that it's not coming from the other small players. It's just an example. It's just an example of what can be done. I mean, you get other really simple examples like we have to make this world be more equitable for any of this stuff to work, climate change or otherwise, but climate change is a symptom. We have many, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about lighting in sub-Saharan Africa. And if you have to sit in a very small space that has no windows and no chimney with a kerosene lamp to study, kerosene puts off pretty toxic stuff. And there's projects where people have made solar-powered small lights. They're just kind of self-contained things. And they can be easily manufactured. And so kids are providing these lights to kids. And of course, what happens is, in the elementary school kids, is they spend 45% more time studying. High school kids, a lot more. So it doesn't have to be big and flashy. It doesn't even have to be something that people know about. Although that can be used, stories can be used as carriers for information going forward. Everybody likes a good story. But simple things matter. So, thank you for listening today. I hope you have a good day. I hope it doesn't snow or rain on me before I get home today. Where do we go from here? Not sure. But like viruses, what goes on with individuals globally really matters. And it starts at home. So thank you. Enjoy your day. The sun's starting to come through the forest. I'll just show you a little bit in a sec here. Have a wonderful day.